Hello, I'm Vice Chair Reva Chambliss, and I'll be chairing today's committee, our Met Council meeting today, August 28th, 2024. We have our first order of business, and that is to approve the agenda. If there are no changes to the agenda, then we will go ahead and consider that approved. Next, we have the Metropolitan Council minutes. I'm asking for approval of the August 14th, 2024 minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
It's been moved by Lilligren. Second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilmember Wolf. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Those minutes carry. At this time, we have an open invitation for the public. Any interested parties may address the council on matters not on the agenda, and they need to pre-register. Each speaker is limited to a 3-minute presentation. I do not believe we have anyone signed up for speaking, so we'll move on to our first business item. And Judy Johnson will present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Management Committee is pleased to bring forward business item 2024-189. This is the preliminary 2025 budget and property tax levies. Business item 2024-189 and resolutions 2024-10 through 2024-15. And I'm just going to read what those are for the thousands of people watching today. It includes the preliminary 2025 unified operating budget, the proposed 2024 tax levy for general purposes for certification to the Commissioner of Revenue, proposed 2024 property tax levy for general purposes for certification to the county auditors, proposed 2024 property tax levy for livable communities, demonstration account in the Metropolitan Livable Communities Fund, proposed 2024 property tax levy for the tax-based revitalization account of the Livable Communities Act, and certifying a property tax levy for 2024 for debt service on future transit bonds. So with that, the proposed preliminary budget has been discussed in the Transportation, Community Development, Environmental Services, and the Management Committees, and presented to the Council on August 14th, as you'll remember. The proposed budget is consistent with this presentation to the Council. The preliminary budget authorizes an overall property tax levy of $96.05 million and a 2% increase from the previous year, which is consistent at the Council. Council members have received a copy of the 2025 preliminary budget in brief, summarizing the preliminary budget and the accompanying tables. This is the first step in the Council's adoption of a 2025 budget. In October, we will incorporate the capital budget into the unified budget, and along with any additional changes to the operating budget, present and adopt the 2025 public comment budget as well. Based on feedback we receive from the public and any additional changes needed, we will adopt the 2025 final unified budget in December. In our final budget, the Council could reduce but not increase the property tax levies adopted today in the preliminary budget. So therefore, Madam Chair, the motion is that the Metropolitan Council authorizes the 2025 preliminary budget as proposed and in accordance with the attached resolutions and tables.
Thank you. It looks like we have to second that motion.
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilmember Lilligren, and we will need to do a roll call.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Roll call vote, starting with Judy.
Yeah, do you want to call the roll?
Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson votes aye.
Thank you.
Councilmember Barber votes aye.
Aye.
Lilligren, aye.
Lindstrom, aye.
Cedarburg, aye. Vento, aye. Wolf, aye.
Okay, all have voted in favor of aye, and I also say aye, so that motion passes.
Unanimity.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Our next item is consent business, and we have 12 items on consent. Is there a motion to pass those items?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded by Vento and Lindstrom. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That consent items 1 through 12 pass. Our next item of business.
Madam Chair, Maybe I have the wrong agenda. It looks like this agenda that items 11 and 12 were stricken. Is that?
That is correct.
Oh, right.
Okay, let's
Online
make it
version.
be known that number 11, 2024-11 and 2024-12 have been stricken. It's not showing on my sheet, but thank you for catching that. So at this time, we have the reports of our standing committees, and the Community Development has no reports. The Environment Committee has no reports. And we have 2 items from the Management Committee. Judy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, the Management Committee is pleased to bring forward business item 2024-209. This is redeeming general obligation transit bonds in its resolution number 2024-16. This business item requests council approval of resolution 2024-16, which provides for the early redemption of 2 outstanding general obligation transit bonds. Specifically, the bond issues involved are general obligation transit capital and refunding bonds, Series 2012C, with $9.965 million of outstanding maturities, and general obligation transit refunding bonds, Series 2012H, with $2.965 outstanding maturities. These are the only transit bonds that are currently callable. The council's financial advisor has recommended redeeming these bonds now, and by doing so, the council will save approximately $1.5 million of future interest costs. The outstanding maturities of these 2 bonds would be paid off on October 1, 2024. These redemptions will be funded with existing transit debt service fund balance. Redeeming these 2 bond issues demonstrates stewardship over the council's financial resources by managing our debt service fund balances and saving future interest costs. Therefore, Madam Chair, I would move that the Metropolitan Council adopt Resolution 2024-16, providing for the redemption of outstanding general obligation transit capital and refunding bonds, Series 2012C, and general obligation transit refunding bonds, Series 2012H, including the incurrence of related redemption expenses and execution of necessary redemption documents.
Thank you for that motion. Is there a second?
So moved. Second.
It's been seconded by Cedarburg. Any discussion or comments?
Madam Chair, I would just say this is a great opportunity again for the council to have interest savings, and I appreciate staff working on this and putting the timing forward as it is.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
We have to wait till Councilmember Wolf returns.
Okay, so it looks like we do have a council member that had to excuse themselves, and we do require a quorum, so we will pause until we are ready to continue for the quorum discussion and motion, the vote to in favor or not in favor of that motion. So let's take a break. Oh, here she is. Okay. Sorry. So I was just asking if there was any further discussion on management item number 2024-209, and there is not, so.
Yes. Right.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, management brings forward business item 2024-225. This is a same week item, and this is the labor agreement with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District Lodge number 77. The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District Lodge number 77, contract expired on December 31st, 2023. Machinists represent about 55 employees who perform maintenance and fabrication work in environmental services. The parties reached a tentative agreement on August 9th, 2024, and following a recommendation from the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District Lodge number 77 Executive Board, the membership ratified the agreement on August 12th of this year. Highlights of the agreement include a 3-year contract effective January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2026, a compensation package that includes a 5.5% general wage increase in year 1, a 4.5% general wage increase in year 2, and a 3.0% general increase in the 3rd year of the contract. Employees will also have the opportunity to earn a 2.5% increase in performance pay each year of the contract. The wages and benefits negotiated in this agreement are consistent with the agreements in place with the council's other labor unions. The cost of the labor agreement was reviewed by Finance and was negotiated within the economic parameters established by the council. This item was reviewed and approved by the Management Committee on August 28th, 2024. Therefore, Mr. Chair, I would move that the Management Committee moves approval to authorize the regional administrator to enter into a labor agreement with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District Lodge Number 77, effective January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilmember Vento. Is there any discussion or comments?
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may. Again, I just want to thank our team that has been negotiating and really putting forward a nice round of labor agreements that have been brought to the council for approval. They've done a great job in all of this, and we know that it's not always easy. And again, I want to thank the members of the Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, all the rest that goes along with that, for being great employees here at the council. We appreciate their hard work and the services they provide throughout the region.
Great, thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries. Thank you so much for that management report and the items. Transportation, Deb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, council members, business item number 2024-196 is regarding project selection for the 2024 regional solicitation, including both federal transportation funds and regional active transportation sales tax funds. The Transportation Advisory Board recommended funding 59 projects with federal transportation funds and 17 projects using active transportation sales tax funding through its semi-annual regional solicitation. The project will be funded by $264 million in federal funds, along with $19 million in active transportation funding and $276 million in local matching funds for a total regional investment of $559 million. Projects were selected from among 127 applications scored by transportation staff and the council, MnDOT, and our local partner agencies over a 2-month process. The 76 projects will make improvements within all 7 counties and over 50 different cities and townships. Therefore, Madam Chair, I move that the Metropolitan Council concur with the Transportation Advisory Board's action to select 59 federally funded transportation projects through the regional solicitation process and include those projects in the transportation improvement programs in the future, and authorize the regional administrator to enter into grants for 17 projects selected by the Transportation Advisory Board to be funded with active transportation sales tax funds.
Thank you, Deb. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilmember Vento. Any discussion or comments? Deb?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just really want to thank so many people who participate in this process. It's not only the TAB, but it's TAC funding and programming, the technical committees, lots of local officials and local staff members from governments who work on the scoring, our staff who supports all of this activity and responds as TAB changes their minds often, and they do often. And I also want to thank the TAB. This was a great process that came together, and it was a unanimous vote at TAB. So that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. I understand that the previous year, the resolutions only passed by 1 vote, so
That is true.
kudos to you and Tab for getting that done. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. That motion carries. Thank you so much. You have one more item?
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, council members, business item number 2024-197 is regarding project selection for the 2024 Highway Safety Improvement Program, or HSIP solicitation. The Transportation Advisory Board recommended funding 20 projects in the metropolitan area using MnDOT's Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program funding. MnDOT convened a scoring committee that recommended 22 of the 55 applications submitted in its metro district. 2 of these projects are in Chisago County, which is also part of MnDOT's metro district, but is not part of the metropolitan region and are not included in the action. The overall federal HSIP funding available to the metro district is about $30.9 million. Therefore, Madam Chair, I move that the Metropolitan Council concur with the Transportation Advisory Board action to fund 20 projects through the Highway Safety Improvement Program solicitation and include all the urbanized area projects in the Transportation Improvement Program.
Thank you, Councilmember. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Johnson. Any discussion or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. That motion passed. Thank you so much. For joint reports, we have no reports and no other business or information items. Looks like we're getting through this meeting quite quickly. But I do have an announcement regarding the September 4th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting. That will be a special meeting, and it's located off-site at the Minnesota Indian Center at 1500 East Franklin Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55404 in the Grandparents' Conference Room. This meeting will be preceded by a social with coffee and light refreshments from 3:30 to 4 p.m. to be followed by the Committee of the Whole meeting at 4 p.m. Carpooling is encouraged, though parking is available on site, and I'm looking forward to having that off-site meeting.
Madam Chair? Thank you for
Councilmember
that. I'm
Johnson.
excited about this. This is great. And if we could just make sure that it gets updated in our calendar, because I live by that, and I will definitely forget to go to the right place. So thank you very much.
We're on it.
Very good. Councilmember Vento. Repeat.
The address?
The address is 1530 East Franklin Avenue, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55404. And we will be sure and get this reminder out into everybody's mailbox so they can put it on their calendar.
Madam Chair, I'm just really thrilled that we're meeting there. The new Minneapolis American Indian Center is beautiful. I mean, it's really stunning. In disclosure, I was on the Capital Campaign Committee for that. And when you stand at the front door of the Indian Center, you can see, I think, 5 projects that we have contributed funding to, mostly through the transit-oriented development grant. So you can kind of see our money at work and how they're leveraging each other right there. And I'll just remind folks, my office is a block west of the Indian Center. So if you have a little time to spare, you could swing by there. We have the All My Relations Arts Gallery with an incredible show by a self-taught artist named Jay White. It's really beautiful, kind of haunting show. So I'd welcome you to spend some time in the All My Relations Arts Gallery as well.
Well, good, thank you. I think I might take you up on that offer and come either early or afterwards.
Let me know.
I will let you know. Any other comments? Do you have a report? Regional Administrator?
Yeah, Madam Chair. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Deb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a quick council report if I could. As you saw, there were a couple items that were stricken from our agenda tonight. That's because at Transportation Committee on Monday, we did not have a quorum. We were not notified of that until about half an hour before the meeting. And to say I was disappointed is a huge understatement. There are some who got to witness my true Irish temper. And so apologies to all of them. I do want to thank Council Members Chambliss and Vento who were there, and also Councilmember Johnson who joined us, because that was the night that we had the presentation from Ramsey County on Riverview. I just want to let everyone know kind of the plan, what we're doing going forward is we moved all of our items to the September 9th agenda. None of our items were same week, so it should not have long-term impacts on anything. In particular, I had a lot of questions come to me about the implementation of Network Now and if this would delay it. It won't, because we'll take action on September 9th as the same week, so it'll come to the council on the same pace, so we should be good. I would actually, even with a small crew, we had a very good discussion about Riverview. I would encourage all my colleagues to go back and watch that and listen to the discussion that we had. And I also really want to take a moment to thank Ramsey County for coming out and giving us that presentation. I think it was very, very helpful. Unfortunately for Transportation Committee members, this is a full edition of everything that was on Monday's night's agenda to September 9th, so maybe plan on an extra long evening. And I'd also request, please let your committee chairs, their staff members know if you're not going to be there in advance so that we can plan appropriately. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Barber. Any other council member reports? Go ahead, Councilmember
Chair,
Vento.
thank you. I am happy to share the eulogy that former St. Paul Mayor Chris Coleman gave on Monday at the funeral for George Latimer. George Latimer was a phenomenal mayor of this city, and Chris captured the magic of George Latimer beautifully in the eulogy. So if anybody's interested, let me know. I'll make sure you get a copy of it. It was just amazing. And all of the region benefited because of the character of George Latimer. And what I loved most about the eulogy was that in it, Chris talked about how George was the first to admit when he made a mistake. And that's the really important characteristic of a strong, successful leader. So, thank you.
Well, thank you. Very touching. Any other reports or comments? Regional Administrator?
Thanks, Madam Chair. To follow up on Councilmember Barber's comment, I'll work with the community relations team to make sure we're sending out kind of getting a sense of quorums and attendance a couple of days in advance of committees. So if that feels like more than before, I'm happy to continue to tweak to meet the needs of the council. But I know summer's a tricky time, particularly the end of summer, right before school years and everything else starts up with Labor Day. But I know it can be tricky. So if you have feedback, please let me know as we go. But we'll start to try to make sure we are tracking ahead of time on those quorum pieces so that we don't get in a tricky spot moving forward. Secondly, on a completely different note, a couple weeks ago, but our last meeting was full, so I didn't get to share this one. I want to give a shout out to Cole Hineker. I know many of you know Cole and have seen him present to the council many times, but at the Association for Commuter Transportation Conference about a month ago, Cole received a Midwest Chapter Award for Local Travel Demand Management Advocate of the Year for the work that he has done. And as we think about our TDM work as an organization and what are the roles we play across this entire region, this has always been one of those areas where what is the role of the council as it relates to transportation demand management and how clear is it or not clear? And at some point, having leaders who help step into those roles and just fill voids and ask questions later and in the meantime get work done is a really big deal. And it was great to see members of our team recognized. And I know if Cole were here, he would say lots of folks help him out here every day. And so it's really a win for the entire staff team. But I wanted to take a moment and recognize Cole.
Well, thank you. Agreed.
That's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Ann?
Madam Chair, no report.
Thank you, everyone. With that,
Madam Chair?
Go ahead. We have one more.
One more. I apologize. And I don't want in any way for this to sound like I'm critiquing you, Mr. Regional Administrator.
Have at it.
But I want to go back to what the Transportation Committee Chair Barber said about reporting absences. I think it's our responsibility as council members to let the staff and the chair of the committee know. And it's important for our community relations folks to be in the loop. But ultimately, I think we have an obligation to let the recording secretary, the committee chair, and their staff know. I missed a lot of meetings in June. I missed a couple in July. It was a recurring respiratory issue. And I don't want to suggest that I deal with this. I wasn't for a while there. But I tried very conscientiously to let them know. And I let Elias know, but I also let the staff know, because they're the ones that are preparing the meeting and have got to have the quorum. So I don't want that to sound like a critique, but I just think it's up to us to be the communicators. And nobody should have to chase us to figure out what we're up to.
Mr. Chair. Well, I'm going to, if I may, Madam Chair. Sorry, yes. Mr. Administrator. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. Your Honor. You're elevated, you know. I guess I want to just put some punctuation marks on that as well, exclamation point, because it's enough to just get bodies in chair even tonight when somebody has to, cough off screen or something, we have to stop a meeting. But again, the layers of people and individuals that it impacts is important to keep an eye on, because at transportation, of course, it was a big deal to get Ramsey County, and they have to take time and plan it, and everybody downstream in that body had to work towards it. And so it's not a good look for us. And even just on my way in sometimes to management, I'm just like, hey, are we going to have a quorum or not? Because again, it disrupts the flow of the business we do. And I know we all have to have time off and things happen, but we're doing really important work, and there are really big issues coming before us, and they all roll up, right? If you miss something, and you miss something a few times, by the time you're voting on it, it's really hard to get caught up and cast a vote maybe that you're confident in. And I know I've been there on a couple items where I'm like, oof, I missed a meeting, I got to get caught up, and life is busy. So I just really want to emphasize that too, because we're being watched. I think we have such an amazing team here at the council. We owe it to them. They're getting us ready. And we owe it to our constituents, and we owe it to the people that are watching what we're doing, because it's a trust builder, I believe, that we have to fulfill our duties to the greatest extent possible and show up. So I just want to, again, agree with what's been said, and I hope the message will go to those who aren't here today. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but it doesn't take much to upset a quorum if we aren't on top of it. So thank you for your time and letting me speak.
Oh, yes. Well, I think I heard a lot of heads nodding, yes. As council members, we all think our committee meetings are very important. So with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.